hour. Good afternoon, Whale Coin Talk and Aquarium community. My name is Noah. I'm here today with Alexander Raffin of Gaines Associates, and I'm going to let Alex talk more about that in a bit here. Before we do, just a quick background of yourself. Alex, your career path before you got into crypto, and then how you made your way into the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's pretty funny. So many like references to sea animals and everything today. So I'm a French guy, lived in Paris for more than 25 years, studied computer science, but I loved coding. I learned to code when I was like 15, 13, but studying it and then, doing internships was very different. You're told what to do. It's more serious. So it wasn't for me. So after I completed my studies, I actually tried to be a professional League of Legends player, and I was one, not at the very, very top, but I still played, in front of a few hundred people, had a team, a coach, and so on. So it was like an experience, very high pressure environments. It's like being a top athlete, but you don't use your muscles. So pretty much you play 12 hours a day in front of the computer, and you have to be very focused. So learned a lot about communication, teamwork, and so on. Did that for a bit more than a year. And then I just discovered crypto thanks to a friend. It was kind of pretty random. Started investing small amounts with friends, discovered more of the space, and then I saw there was some opportunities. So things happened after that.
It's really interesting, Alex. Myself and a couple others at Whale Coin Talk were pretty avid World of Warcraft players, so I didn't know that you had experience with LoL and not just that, played in front of hundreds of people. That's awesome. Let's jump right in. Let's talk about Gaines Associates, the world's first decentralized VC. Not to steal your thunder, but give us a high-level overview of what Gaines Associates is.
Yeah, for sure. So I think everyone is familiar with launchpads. So you can see it as a launchpad, but for private sales. So that's pretty much it. We have some kind of token that is an entry ticket to access deal flow. And so, yeah, for everyone, I mean, pretty much before the public sales, you have VCs, angel investors that get in. They take on more risk, but they also buy the token cheaper. So it's for kind of a different kind of people. You do lock your capital for longer, but you have more upside, of course.
So this is a way for people who join your VC or Launchpad to get into these deals early, basically at the level that most crypto VCs would get in.
Yeah, this is something for me that kind of still blows my mind to this day, to be honest, is that because crypto is very new, because it's still in a gray area, because crypto is very open, we are able to bring deals to people that can be literally life changing. When you get in a private sale, you can invest more at a lower price. So you have much more leverage if it works out. And that's how you can change your life. And I mean, it's also kind of, I think, why everyone is here in crypto, right? I mean, the answer is pretty much like 10x or 100x if you're pretty bullish. Everyone in crypto, like they don't want 10% or whatever. So I think the private sales allow you to do that, and they're also kind of safe in a way because when you invest with the big boys at a lower price, I mean, you're protected, right? Your floor is lower, so it works out pretty well.
Yeah, I was going to say, you said that the earlier investors are taking on more risk, which I understand why you would say something like that. But at the same time, as you mentioned, the floor is lower. So even if the project does relatively well, there's no way, there's not much further down that the seed investors can go. I can see why there are pluses and minuses to that. I want to talk about, speaking of X's, 10X's, 100X's, 1,000X's in your case, you guys got into some notable projects quite early. To name a few, Blocktopia, Quant, and Avalanche. Avalanche we'll be having on next Friday. Can you tell us a bit more about? Were these projects that Gaines Associates, the decentralized VC, got into, or was this before you launched decentralized VC? Tell us a bit about how you knew that these projects were going to be big wins, what kind of research you do beforehand, and anything else that you think would be exciting for us to hear about.
Yeah, for sure. It's a very good question. Just a quick note is that we kind of switched the how we speak about ourselves. Before, it was like just a pool, and that's what happened. Like in 2018, there were hundreds of dues, and then the name changed to something more fancy, I guess. So we had some of these deals before we had a token and before we had this kind of structure with a platform and everything. But it was always a community of investors. At the end of the day, that's what we are. And so the deals, I mean, I think the team is of course like the most important. Avalanche, I mean, there was Emin, of course, going zero. The guy was a renowned academic, of course, uh, known on Twitter, which helps. OG in crypto as well. He was with a Colored coin, I believe, or Colored Bitcoin, something like that. And Quant as well. I mean, the guy, the CEO, was a big shot. Had huge connections in NGOs and so on. So the team is a big factor for sure. And you can have very bright guys, but if they don't have business experience, if they don't know how to, run the financials and everything, it doesn't matter that much how bright they are, and it's still kind of risky. So these guys, they had some decades of experience, and that matters a lot. Not to say Vitalik made it, but it's a special kind. Then, I mean, of course, you have to look at the utility of the token. There's a lot of projects as well where they're doing well, but the token is pretty much like they use the token to fundraise, and then they say fuck the token, and that's pretty bad feeling as an investor. So you have to watch out for that. You have to ask them, how they will integrate the token in the ecosystem and so on. And by the way, just another note on that. I mean, a lot of utility tokens are actually disguised securities when they do buybacks and burns. But that's actually good, because that's what makes the price go up. And then, of course, I mean, there's a lot more factors, but the third one I would mention is the valuation. You and that's also a reason why it's very good to invest in these markets, even though it's like the hardest, right? When you don't have much liquidity and everyone's around you is scared, but the valuations are much lower because everyone wants funds to keep on moving fast and go ahead of competitors in this market. So yeah, pretty much the team, utility of the token, valuation. If you have these three, you're pretty good usually. So we do have a research team, but maybe the last thing I would mention, which makes me very comfortable whenever we make investments, and especially so recently because the community as well has learned and evolved just as we did, is that we have the chance to have literally hundreds of eyes whenever we bring a project, and they're gonna check everything. I mean, we have a research team, 3 people these days, and they get on calls. I get on call afterwards when they have screened the project. We take a look at the LinkedIn, the Twitter, the website, the pitch deck, everything, right? But we have lots of projects to check. We only have 24 hours in a day, and so these guys, it's their own money and they have realized that, and we invest as well, but they're pretty relentless when they check things. And so it's a very big confidence boost for everyone when you have so many people doing due diligence. I mean, I think we probably do harder due diligence than some of the big funds just because of that. I actually have heard some projects telling me you guys are like the FBI, like so. So it works out pretty well when you have a good community, which is very hard to get. And sometimes the community can be annoying, can be rough and everything. It's not easy every day, but there is real power in the community.
Alex, you highlighted quite a few components that you guys analyze, and clearly you're quite good at it. I mean, and the proof is in the pudding. You're not just all talk. Your portfolio speaks for itself. I wanted to focus and expand a bit on tokenomics. You said you guys look very closely at tokenomics, and the tokenomics model, the token economy, is so important in evaluating, or rather, valuing whether a company is going to, or rather, whether an ecosystem is going to be prosperous or not. What specifically do you look for in a tokenomics model, in a token economy, for projects to kind of say, okay, well, this looks like it makes sense. I can see the token utility. I can see why the model works. I can see why it's sustainable. Give us some more insight into that, please.
Yeah, that's also a very good question. There's first of all, like on the rough numbers, it's good to look at the multipliers between rounds. So like whatever you want to call them, seed, strategic, private, public, or whatever. For example, sometimes seed has like a fucking 90% discount. So that's quite dangerous. You take a look at the vesting, of course. It needs to be kind of like a good compromise because of course, investors need some liquidity, but you don't want too much dump. So there's that. And then the token needs to have something special in a way. So I mean, it's kind of a meme, to be honest. Like there's a lot of things that governance and everything, you're not exactly sure if it works. So at the end of the day, it's about the product. If the product works out, you can always use the token kind of artificially and do a subscription, and it's gonna work out, right? I mean, Telegram could, for example, make people pay their $5 subscription monthly with a token, and they could buy back the token, and the market cap would be huge. So it's not so much the token and how it's used. I would say actually it's like the financials of the tokenomics, and then how good we think the product will be, and then usually you can find a way to integrate the token into that. Yeah.
So when you guys started, I believe you mentioned 2018. You guys were and I know exactly what you're talking about. They were kind of unofficial pools, and I'm assuming there were few people, including yourself, making decisions like, hey, we like AVAX, we like Quant, we like so-and-so project, let's invest in this. You've since moved over, or rather transitioned to a decentralized VC. How many members are part of that VC? How much bigger has it gotten since your early beginnings? And also, how are decisions made? Because oftentimes, oftentimes I don't know if I trust the average Joe to do their due diligence and vote on a specific project. Um, anyway, I'm gonna pass the mic to you and let you kind of drop some knowledge on us with respect to that.
Yeah, I mean, I share my opinion, and I would actually be curious to hear yours because I don't have like a definite opinion on this. So we have about 500 very active investors in private chats where the deal happens. The public community is much larger. It's pretty much news about crypto and everything, but no deals. And yeah, regarding how the decisions are made, this is something I've thought about for quite some time. I mean, there was some hype about the DAOs at some points. And decentralization is a scale. It's not 0 or 1. So we're not fully decentralized. We don't have a DAO per se, but we take input from the community. We do run polls and everything. And I actually got the chance to ask CZ this question about a year ago. And so I asked him what he thought of investment DAOs. So pretty much what we are and a few others. And he said he kind of likes it, but for him personally, in a traditional Chinese top-down way of thinking, he said it would move faster and be able to become bigger if it had a benevolent dictator on top. So, and it kind of makes sense because for me, when you think about it, I don't think people who have their own life and they're busy with whatever their job, their personal issues, and then they come home, they're fucking tired, and they have, I don't know, 30 minutes, an hour or two maybe, to look at crypto, to track their investments, and then you ask them to be informed enough to still have the willpower to make a good decision. That seems like a bit too much. So for me, yeah, I mean, I think it can be dangerous actually to give too much voting power to people because maybe they have the best intentions, but also what I've found.
I think we might have lost Alex there, or maybe I'm
That can
lagging.
actually be bad, of course.
Can
has
anyone
been
can?
a blessing. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, sorry. I think either I cut out or you cut out, but you cut off the last like 15 seconds. I couldn't hear you really. You kind of breaking up.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I was just saying, like some people also they have a short time horizon, and to highlight the vestings, many times people they're saying, hey, this project is wrong, and they're forced to hold because they received maybe 10% of their tokens, and then the project doing well. And so thanks to the vesting, they diamond handed the tokens that maybe they would have dumped. And I think it's kind of also this mentality, lack of faith, or just wanted to flip and whatever, that is dangerous if you gave people the right, because it's not like their company, they don't care as much, they're part of the community, they're part of something, but then they might not be here for like 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, they might be with you for like a year, leave, come back, whatever. So also, like, you need to know how aligned they are if you give them the power to make decisions. So think of like DAOs and everything.
Yeah, so I certainly agree with you. I think that decentralization is a spectrum, and I personally love the hybrid. I love a hybrid approach. I'm not too big on super decentralized DAOs for some of the reasons that we're discussing uh, currently. Right, the average individual, from my own anecdotal experience, is not going to do the due diligence that I would be happy with, and ultimately make a an educated vote on whether or not the DAO or whether or not the VC is going to invest in a specific project. So I think that the approach that I would like hypothetically is you obviously can have a DAO structure, but you can have it populated with individuals that have been vetted by, let's say, in your case, yourself and maybe your inner circle, who are seasoned investors, who have done due diligence. So you vet people that you want joining your group or your DAO, and then those individuals can make weighted votes and weighted decisions based on their experience and a number of other metrics that you guys can discuss internally. Um, but as far as like a massive DAO where people can just buy the Gains token, for example, we're gonna talk about the Gains token here in a second, but people can just buy the Gains token and automatically have uh, the same weight as, let's say, you or someone else that's simply holding the same amount of the token. I'm not really for that. I don't think it works. In I think there are certain maybe certain examples where you can make the argument for it, but not the VC example when there's so much money at stake, and it really takes so much experience and knowledge to pick the right projects. So, I mean, with that said, I want to jump into the Gains tokenomics and utility, right? You guys do have a tiered system. And so please give us a breakdown of that, and also follow it up with, for people listening, including myself, people that want to get involved in your ecosystem, people that want to get involved in some of the projects you guys pick, because you're clearly doing very good at picking good ones. I mean, I'm sure you guys have had some massive losses like any of us, but you've had some gems, you've had some unicorns. So how can we participate and become a part of Gains Associates decentralized VC?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's pretty simple. You buy the token, you stake it, and then on the website you have access to deal flow. So that's it. And then if you stake more, you get into higher tiers, which allow you to invest more. And for the very top tiers, sometimes we have exclusive deals. And yeah, regarding picking the projects, there's something also that people maybe do not really understand, like the value we bring, and we have built up our brands and network over close to 5 years now, and it's not really about knowing which project to invest in. There's lots of smart people that are able to follow the thread and follow the VCs and see early on which projects are good. But let's say you're like, you have a job, you want to invest $500 or 1,000, you're never going to be able to invest that. The project, they don't have time to to just listen to you for 500 or 1K or whatever. So they want to deal with someone who is going to put a decently big ticket, and also they want value added, because for the best projects you have to fight for them. Usually in this market, maybe not, but they will be oversubscribed, and then you have to prove you have more value than others. And that's where the 5 years of building up the brand, the community, the content, and the all the network, we make lots of intros with various parties, other VCs, launchpads, market makers, and everything that the average Joe cannot obviously provide. And so that is also, I truly believe that access is much more important. When you get into the inner circle and then the inner circle, life becomes very easy. We're not like in the inner circle yet, I believe, but we're in a decent circle, and so it's a work in progress, and that just changes the game, yeah, pretty much.
It's certainly a game changer. And as you said, Alex, most people, even in crypto, are not going to get access to a seed investment, to Avalanche or another big ecosystem that has a great team behind it and lots of promise. It's not even because that they're it's not because they're an average Joe. It's more so because for the amount of $500, it takes a lot of time and resources and to allocate to that individual. You guys are basically streamlining this and creating a medium for everyday people like myself or some folks in the audience to invest in top tier projects. And I really love that mission. I think it's so important. I wanted to shift gears here in a moment and talk about uh, the world runs on memes that you sent me a slide. The world runs on you meme. Tell me a bit more about the first social network for memes. I know that you're really excited about it. Let's dive right into that.
Sure, yeah, I mean, totally different topic. This is another, so we have two projects, games and this one. We pilot them with the same executive team, but different tech teams. And so we've been in crypto for 5 years, and pretty much every day on Telegram, Twitter, in the community, and sometimes very good times, sometimes very rough times, like today. And what makes crypto good, to be honest, is just the memes, like the gifs, the stickers, everything, and that truly helps. And so there's a lot of power. I mean, so Elon Musk, bought Twitter, and he has two tweets, and he says pretty much like memes are who controls the memes controls the universe. So I think we kind of know memes are very powerful, but at the same time, I don't think we have truly realized them. And I think like everything is a meme, kind of. Bitcoin is a meme in a way, and so um, there's I think memes can bring crypto to the masses, and I think we need more memes. So regarding meme, it's a social network for memes, and just maybe a quick note on social networks. There's been quite a number of projects that tried to be a decentralized social network because everyone was talking about people getting cancelled, censorship, whatever, and so everyone was like, okay, there's a gap to be filled here, and that's true. But so far, all these projects, the decentralized Twitter and whatever, they haven't seen the light of the day, right? So, and I think there's a few reasons why, but maybe one of the main ones is because these social networks tried to be too generic right from the start. And with memes, we can actually have a very tight, engaged community that relates and that speaks the same language. And I think when you have this core community, then you can expand maybe later to something more generic and whatnot. So it could be something very cool for the world to have pretty much like Instagram but for memes. So this is something we're working on, and we do run meme contests with crypto projects and everything. It's going to be gamified, like you'll have quests on there. So it's a cool website to check out. If you have a rough day, you want to spend memes, check it out. Umeme.com.
Right on. Just so, I mean, just how Facebook started with people in colleges, or Instagram started with just pictures. You guys are starting with just memes, and you're moving forward. I like the roadmap. You're using a different planet for each phase of the roadmap. How far into the roadmap are you guys currently?
So we're pretty early. We basically, it's app. It's not a native mobile app. You can use it on your phone, but it doesn't have the features that's a native app like in. And pretty much we have very good reception. Whenever you tell a project in crypto about it, they're like, let's go. So we collections top 15 that want to work with us. And last week I was literally discovering a new competitor every day. So I think it might be very good because maybe we need a new narrative in crypto for the next bull run. We can reuse old narratives. I mean, there's ones coming, like ZK and whatnot, but maybe social networks, maybe memes again with Elon and whatever, could be a great narrative for us to pump at some point in the future.
Competition drives innovation. So, I mean, if you have competitors, I think it's silver lining and could be a great thing. I wanted to circle back to some of the other work you guys do, Alex. You do shorts on projects, personalities, and events in crypto. Can you give us some insight into what exactly, or rather, who exactly you guys typically are interviewing and doing shorts on?
Yeah. Yeah, so usually our portfolio, but not all the time. Shorts are amazing, they're like 30 seconds to a minute, so quick. You can learn a lot about a project, get your like daily crypto dose on Instagram or something. And then you have the longer format interviews, not as long as Lex Friedman hours and so on. So it's like 15 minutes, 20, 30 sometimes. And so you get to know about a project. There was Blockchain Brad back in the days, a YouTuber I really liked, and he was doing these kinds of like 1 hour interviews that pretty much no one was doing, but they were very nice. He got into a lot of details about the projects, and so that's one of the things we try to do as well. But by the way, I would also be like super curious to hear more about what you guys do. I think it would be like extremely interesting.
Yeah, of course. We can talk a bit about whale coin talk, and no pun intended. And Alex, it's one of the few times I get the broadcast turned around on me, where the guest becomes the interviewer. Happy to talk about whale coin talk and the things that we're doing. The elevator pitch is that whale coin talk is an educational an educational Web3 media hub, and we offer a wide array of services and educational content. But our bread and butter, I believe, or at least from my experience, are broadcasts like this, talking to people like you, bringing on blockchain solutions onto our podium to showcase what they're building to a community of investors, enthusiasts, and builders. It's really a way, I think these Twitter spaces are really important, and they're a way for like-minded. I mean, this wasn't around in 2018, right? During the bear market, you had these partitioned silos of like-minded individuals where we kind of stayed in our own communities, right? There wasn't Twitter spaces to bring everyone together. And this time around, we have this amazing tool, and it's letting us, it's such an interconnected social web, and it's letting you and me right now have a conversation, and those that follow us come in and tap into each other's communities. So, Whale Coin Talk is first and foremost, like I said, a media hub. We want to bring crypto awareness to the masses, and we're doing that through a number of different verticals, but one being broadcasts like this. We are always evolving and trying to learn different ways where we can provide value to the market, to the industry. And yeah, I mean, this is what I love doing, and say like a lot of my core team, we're working very hard to build this thing up, and they'd probably agree. We believe in the long-term vision. But let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, that's super cool to hear. I mean, um, there's lots of competition in crypto, and I was just chatting with a guy yesterday, kind of crazy guy. Is a big advisor to huge companies, and he kind of opened my eyes. And he was saying that in crypto, everyone is actually so small. Like he was saying in China, a $10 billion company is a startup. And it was like, so everything in crypto pretty much like it doesn't matter except for like Binance and all the, and yet everyone is fighting with each other. Like it's pretty rough out here, right? And so what if, we could really collaborate? I know it's hard to kind of collaborate with people that are indirect competitors or whatever, but if you try, it's actually very nice. You need to have boundaries and everything, but and so just love to see people spreading the word, and the vibe is good. So that's amazing.
I want to make a comment on that note because I'm hearing a lot of this rhetoric lately that this person is competition or people fighting or people wanting to carve out a piece of the whole cake for themselves when there's plenty for everyone. And I'm going to use this example because Mario. Someone recently brought up to me, well, aren't you guys competitors with Mario in the fall? And I kind of shrugged and I'm like, no way, not at all. I don't see this as a zero sum game, right? Just because people listen to Joe Rogan or Lex Friedman, for example, doesn't mean that they're only listening to one of those podcasts. They're listening to all kinds of different podcasts. And this kind of collaborative hive mind that we have formed on Twitter Spaces, it leaves room for everyone to have a piece of the cake. There's plenty to go around. There's plenty to learn from. I've learned so much from listening to Mario's broadcasts, and I'm hoping that people listen to these broadcasts and walk away with something to contribute and develop in their own ecosystems. So that's how I feel about it, and I hope that the industry as a whole starts to move away from this us versus everyone else, or this is my competitors, therefore I don't want to deal with them, associate with them, and I want to just push into the ground while I climb the ladder. I don't think it needs to be like that.
Yeah, and by the way, there was also a very good point, which is like us versus them. It's also pretty risky to do crypto versus like the establishment and the banks, because these guys are very powerful. So like the founder of MakerDAO recently died, and that was a pretty, I mean, sad, obviously, and scary news in a way. And I talked about it with a few friends, and they all had their opinion, like whatever, he knew something, and the guy just said, hey, he made lots of like bad comments about banks. He was, creating a stable coin. And also like they talked about how the Celsius guy, Alex as well, he was very adamant about not liking the banks and trashing the banks. And so these guys have lots of power. They kind of need decentralization, because as much power as they have, it's always good to have self custody, right? You can still have your assets frozen, maybe, unless you're like, I mean, using your own bank or whatnot, but you're never safe 100%. But if you have self custody, you should be good, and even powerful people want that. But to attack them head on and start like spitting on their name and whatever, it's pretty risky. I mean, these guys, they have ego as well, and they can design connections. Like, crypto is still, it's both resilient and fragile. So when you get to a certain point, you need to be careful about what you say. And I think it's also why Binance was became so big. They were very aggressive, of course, but CZ is one of the humble guys, compared to Dokwan and whatever. And so for that reason, he never got like any big guy to pick on him. So there's these games, like, fighting within within crypto, and then fighting outside of crypto. Maybe none of it is worth it. Maybe we should just focus on building.
Yeah, I couldn't have said any of that better myself, Alex. All I'll all I'll piggyback off and say is it doesn't this industry does not have to be a zero sum game, just like life doesn't have to be a zero sum game. And I think the sooner people that are building figure this out, the sooner everyone hopefully prospers and does well. I want to move on and talk a bit more about your experience, Gains Associates, and what you're excited about going forward. What are some, and only if you can share with us, what are some projects that you guys have more recently invested in that you are excited to share, and also explain why you're bullish on them?
Yeah, there's a few. So There's one actually named Few and Far. It is an NFT marketplace on Near. And so the reasoning was pretty simple. They have the backing of Near. The team is good, more than 10 years of experience. The valuation was reasonable. And we're like, okay, there has to be an NFT marketplace on Near. Sure, maybe OpenSea can support Near at some point, but a native one would resonate better. So that was one of the investments we did, and there was Magic Square, which I like a lot. So it's actually an app store for crypto, and there's a lot of it's pretty hard to get a crypto app just validated, because you have to go through lots of hoops, and like it's a bit random as well. Some apps like that shouldn't be authorized get authorized, and some apps that should work. But anyway, so backed by Binance, incubated by Binance actually, and Binance Labs. And so the team is very good. I met them in Singapore. Again, 10, 15, 20 years of experience for the execs. They already had like 50,000 users. They had the app ready when we invested. So that was pretty much a no-brainer when you can do that at a reasonable valuation. So this is a recent one we did. We did also a very exciting project that I cannot really name, but they have the people from Hashgraph, Indigo as well behind them. So very big shots. The valuation for this one was a bit high, but they're doing some kind of storage with privacy on chain. And so this is also infrastructure, which we do look at more in these more rougher times, moving away from the gaming, the metaverse, and everything. So we do roughly one project per week these days. So that gives us good timing to just do our research. And of course, we're looking into the Aptos ecosystem. And the reasoning for that is, I mean, everyone was talking about it. There was some FUD, to be honest, with Aptos, the Craptos memes. Um, but it's still holding relatively well, and there's lots of big boys behind it, and they have a 1 year cliff. So the reasoning is that they will need to pump it using the media they have and everything for the next year. And so if we can find projects launching in the Aptos ecosystem before that, then that should be pretty good. So we're also doing a few Aptos projects.
So, Alex, across, and by the way, I love the idea of investing in infrastructure. I use that word a lot to describe my own personal investments, especially when I'm explaining Ethereum to, for lack of a better term, plebeians, normies, my friends that aren't savvy on crypto but that want to get in. I basically say that Ethereum is infrastructure. And it's the infrastructure that a lot of what is yet to be seen still in this industry will be built on. But not to go too far on a tangent, bringing it back, these projects that you have shared with us and ones that you cannot share with us, but you have invested in, are they available? Or were these projects available for anyone in your ecosystem in the gains associated, in the gains associate VC to invest in?
Yes, they were. So pretty much the way it works is, in the bull market, sometimes the deals are very fast, and sometimes not everyone gets in on the projects. But these days, we have some time, and we can usually get decent allocations. So if you're online, you shouldn't be able to miss a deal. You have like a 24 to 48-hour window to get in on it. We prepare a nice summary about the project, the team, the partners, the VCs that are already in, the tokenomics and everything. So you can consume the information in 5 to 10 minutes. It's pretty simple. Read a bit the private groups, see what people are saying, and then you can make your decision. So it's pretty simple, and these deals were available for everyone who had staked more than 10,000 games.
Mm-hmm. And let's go back to the tier list because it ties into this. You said for anyone that has more than 10,000 gains staked. What tier is that, and what is the USD value of 10,000 gains?
Right, so we have 4 tiers, and the names are fish, dolphin, shark, and whale. ranging from 10,000 up to 200,000 for whale, with everything in between 30K and 100K for dolphin and shark. And yes, pretty much when you go up a tier, you get to be in the new private group. So the chats are different. It's just different people. There's some pretty crazy people in the whale group, for example. OGs, very rich guys, of course. The shark group is actually the most active. These guys, they're pretty crazy with DJ and stuff and whatever. And just besides the nice conversation and the feeling to be part of a group, again, you get to invest more in the projects as you rise within the tiers.
Not financial advice for anyone listening, but Alex, where's an easy place to acquire gains or buy gains if we wanted to do that?
So Uniswap and PancakeSwap, we haven't really listed on centralized exchanges. Some very shady exchanges like listed the token without us wanting to. So I would highly, go against going into anything else than Uniswap and PancakeSwap.
And will you be expanding to any other chains in the near future?
I mean, maybe. We don't feel like it's like necessary at the moment. BSC works well, no fees, everything. So maybe at some point, but for now, it's not a priority. Actually, so we have a roadmap, of course, and there is something that we kind of missed the boat in the last bull market, which was the launchpad boat. And so because there's something that's kind of pissed us off, to be honest, is that the private sale market is very small compared to the public sale market. And so we're like the leader in what we do almost, um, and we're still pretty small. But some kind of average launchpads are much bigger just because people in crypto are more interested in flipping, investing $500 on one day and selling for 1,000 the next and doing that again and again than investing 500, waiting for 6 months and getting 5K. So just because of that, we used all the bear markets to prepare our own launchpad with a twist, of course, because there's probably 50 or more launchpads, so we don't want to be like just another launchpad. Um, but we have that ready when the good times will come back and the public sales will be, something again. And we're always making the platform better. There's a few features as investors that people really like. So we have a calendar. You might know if you start to invest even in just 5 deals, you're gonna receive tokens on like Ethereum, BSC, Matic, maybe. And there's gonna be a different vesting schedule for everything. So unless you're very detail oriented and you have your own spreadsheets, you're not going to know when you receive tokens and everything. And so for that, on the website, we have everything is easily explained. You have a calendar to track your future distributions. So we have done some work to make sure the journey as an investor is, you have the most information you need at all point, and you feel good and safe.
Alex, I want to get speculative here, and I'm going to preface this with, again, an NFA DYOR disclosure. But you are quite experienced, relatively speaking. I mean, I find that you've probably been involved more in this industry, in this market, than 99% of people I talk to. So give me your, give me your thoughts on where you see the overall industry going in the next 1 to 2 years. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Are you neutral? And then also, I mean, you kind of hinted at this with investments in infrastructure, but what do you think the next big thing or things or catalysts will be to drive adoption and, open the gates for the next wave of money flowing into this market?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. I'm quite bullish. I I think actually regulation is going to be very good for us. I when I was younger, I didn't like the rules at all. I don't like them that much even now, but I kind of made up my accepted that regulation was something good. And the reason why is simply because, well, we need to kind of move away from all the scams and everything. It's just now not how we can build something big. And also there is big money sitting on the sidelines that cannot get in because it's not regulated enough and everything. So the point is pretty much the big money pumps Bitcoin, and then the kind of retailers, your parents, slowly buy into more altcoins and kind of pump your. But I'm very bullish on like both Bitcoin and a decent number of altcoins because of the regulations. So Micah is gonna come next year for Europe. And so yeah, I think it's gonna be good. And regulation, there's actually it's weird in a way, but there was recently a freeway. It was kind of, I'm not sure if it is a Ponzi or whatever, but they offered 43% APY, which is a lot, probably way too much. But they attracted so many people because they said they were regulated. So the catch was, sure they were regulated and audited, but only once a year, and the latest audit was at the top of the bull market, and then pretty much their traders and assets got wrecked in the bear market. But the point is, the reason why they were able to get so many people on board, I mean, most of the people they knew, they were like 40, they were saying two things at the same time. They were like, the smart guys, right? Hey, 43% API is way too much. This is not sustainable. But hey, they're audited and regulated. Let's ape in. So if regulation can make kind of like a semi Ponzi or scam, make smart people get in, I think it can do a lot for like legit projects. So I think when I don't know when the market's gonna go up again and everything. I do see smart people starting to like slowly buy, and they're less sitting on the sidelines. They're like, they're just putting their butts up the bench and looking more at what's happening. They're not just like sitting, laying back. So I think things are like there's just like a little light, a spark. So yeah, I think I'm just bullish long term, of course. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. It wouldn't make sense.
My philosophy is almost identical to yours, especially with how I felt about regulation 4 years ago versus how I feel about it now. One of my favorite Kevin O'Leary spiels, quotes, if you will, that I refer back to quite often, and I might have even brought it up on our call, is that 90% of the world's wealth is stored in sovereign and pension plans. Most of those can't even invest in Bitcoin if they wanted to. If they could, they would allocate 50 to 100 basis points. So I think that regulation is actually great. It's probably going to start with stablecoins, as we're seeing with Micah being very focused on stablecoins, amongst other things, but mainly stablecoins. And people will be surprised how much money floods in once those gates have been opened. I want to, don't mean to grill you, but I want to dive a little deeper into your thoughts on Ethereum, because I love Bitcoin as well, but I noticed that you said Bitcoin and cryptos. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on Ethereum.
I love Ethereum. I actually think on Ethereum than Bitcoin. I hold more Ethereum than Bitcoin, especially with the recent merge. I mean, if you take a look at the numbers, it's crazy the selling pressure, how much it's reduced, right? I mean, I don't have the numbers in mind. I made a tweet a few months ago about it, I think. But there was like daily selling pressure from the miners. That's, I mean, some they have cash flow, but pretty much these guys needed to sell Ethereum each day to cover the electricity costs. And now that we're moving to proof of stake, that's gone. And also we have like more burn and everything. So it's changed. I mean, like I think 95% less selling pressure, something crazy. And so when you think how high ETH was able to pump with like the selling pressure there was, in when the things turn good again, sentiment wise, I think ETH is gonna fly. Yeah. And by the
Yeah,
way, just very,
go ahead.
yeah, sorry.
Sure,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
there is, so the numbers, the adoption on chain are pretty scary for every layer one besides Ethereum. Like even the big guys, Polkadot, Avalanche, Solana, Cardano, all these guys, they only have a few tens of thousands of monthly active users on chain. So like, 30,000 people interacted with Polkadot last month on chain. That's ridiculously low. And Ethereum is miles, miles, miles away. Ethereum is the only ecosystem with DeFi, with people transacting and everything on a much bigger scale. So, and when you know that the valuations these other layer ones have compared to Ethereum, if you take into account the adoption, Ethereum has much more in store than these guys. These guys are a bit overvalued for the very little on-chain activity they have.
So you're short-term bearish layer ones.
Um, I I don't know. I have no idea. I just hold.
Love it. And I wanted to just piggyback off of you saying Ethereum's post merge supply is growing at a bit over 0.1% compared to the pre merge, which is about 3.7%. So right on the money there. I think EIP 1559 did some fantastic things for the tokenomics. Alex, we're gonna wrap things up here, and I feel like you and I could just get on here and shoot the shit for hours. But is there anything about Gains Associates, about the projects you're working on, investing in, and or about just the market as a whole that you want to share with us?
I mean, first of all, I would actually have loved to hear more about your thoughts and everything, because I think what you said was very interesting whenever you spoke. Besides that, I mean, I think these are hard times, and I know it helped me a lot when I was new in the space in 2019, 2020 during these bear markets to have OGs that had been here since 2013, 14 and whatever. And you just knew with the energy they had in the chats that this guy has been through a few things. And it just gave me confidence to keep on going. So if I can maybe give you something today is I think crypto has very good fundamentals. I mean, it's really something that solves the exchange of value at scale, censorship resistance. You have control of your own funds. I mean, it's something revolutionary. So a lot of people they change their like actions based on the sentiment. But if you have a thesis, if you really believe in it, you should not change what you say. You shouldn't say, "Hey, Bitcoin is a scam at 10K," and "Oh, Bitcoin is amazing at 50." It should be the exact same. So I think it's good to take take some good breathing exercises or whatever. Keep on learning. That's how you become more confident. The more I learned about everything, the more you hear people chat and everything. It just it helps you. So yeah, good times always come after bad times. So keep going, I guess. And with gains, we're trying to we keep going. That's what we do. Trying to get the best deals as always. So there will always be more. Some people they're like, "Oh, I missed this deal and this deal." I'm like, "Don't worry, there will be more." So yeah, I mean, thanks a lot for having me. And I mean, yeah, as well, I guess I would like to return you the question. Um, how do you feel maybe about the market or anything you would like to share as well?
Yes, certainly. First of all, thank you for that. Those closing statements. I think people that are experiencing their first bear market need to understand that the tech is no different today than it was a year ago. In fact, I'd say it's more mature than it was a year or two ago. The prices might be different. People were very upset in my circles for not being able to buy sub 20K Bitcoin. They got what they asked for, but no one was biting. It was the same deal in 2018. People were like, "Oh God, I wish I got 3 to 4K Bitcoin. I missed it. I missed it." Hey man, you got 3 to 4K Bitcoin for several months, starting in I believe the end of Thanksgiving in 2018 all the way through the end of January. And almost 99% of people I know didn't buy in that period. I'm not sure why, right? If you understood Bitcoin fundamentally, which is not very hard to understand, even the white paper is not hard to digest. It's written in a way for the average individual to be able to get a general understanding of what problems it's solving. So my strategy going forward, and my strategy, I wish I had tried to get less cute with my strategy in 2018, but my strategy going forward is just DCAing in. I'm not a trader. I buy dips. I buy into ecosystems that I can see a bright future for, and I just hold. And that's what I've been doing for the last 3 years, and it's more or less paid off. As far as where I see the market going, I'm by no means a professional speculator or technical analysis, and I don't mean reading charts. I mean fundamental analysis. But the the macro the macro fundamentals, or rather the macro economy, doesn't seem to favor speculative assets. So I'm not very bullish over the next 1 to 2 years. I I foresee a bit more pain on the way. However, take that with a fat grain of salt. DYOR, NFA, I'm by no means an expert, and I've been wrong many times before, but I'm not concerned with the prices really. I have my daily expenses in my life, and I have my investments. Crypto is part of my investments. I buy in every month into assets that I like. And one of the great things about bear markets for me is I get to go back to the basics. I get to buy assets that Bitcoin and Ethereum being two of them that I found to be, and people call me a grandpa and call me a vanilla for being a Bitcoin Ethereum shill, but I get to go back and buy Bitcoin and Ethereum that were too expensive for me this time last year. So I'm quite happy with it. I get to build without many distractions. There were so many pumps happening every second of every moment, or rather every second of every day last year. I didn't have my attention was in 10 places at once. I couldn't just focus on one thing because you're missing all these pumps. Those pumps, they're still around, but they're few and far in between, and I get to focus on what's important, and that's building Whale Coin Talk with an amazing team of people, and growing us for the next big wave in this industry whenever that comes. I don't know when it's going to come, but I guess Alex gave incredible advice towards the end here, and I'm going to add something else to that. Twitter Spaces did not exist 4 years ago, and I wish it had, because I think there are so many great communities and so many great spaces that are happening where you can learn so much. I mean, anyone's always welcome to join Whale Coin Talk or the Aquarium, but I hop into Mario Nafal's roundtable quite often, and there are so many smart people that join that space, and there's so many people to learn from in that space. And you get access to those people as well. You can message them on Twitter afterwards. They respond to you. I mean, Alex, you and I got to connect because of a space. We would have otherwise never met. So I would take advantage of this incredible tool that's available to us, and that has brought us all together in an industry where, I mean, it's cliche to say this, but if you look at metrics and you look at statistics and you look at numbers, we're still early. That's just it's not an opinion, it's a fact. So I'll leave you guys with that, and I want to appreciate Alex so much for coming on today. I think this was a really informative AMA, if you will. These are my favorite ones to do because my hope is audience members leave this broadcast with a bit of knowledge, a bit more informed with respect to this industry than they were prior. So, yeah, thank you. Oh, actually, Alex, really quickly, I have two hands up, and I want to get to community questions because I think that you might like some of these coming your way. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, let's go with Aisha first.
Thank you, Noah. I've read on your website that you monitor participants' behavior to set reputation points based on their actions. I want to know, how will you be monitoring participants' behavior, and what type of actions will determine reputation points, and what penalty will be there for participants with low reputation points?
Oh, that's a good question. So I haven't like really explained that, but we have two things. We have on-chain analytics that we built. It was not easy, it took us a few months, but pretty much we know who dumps and who holds. Because I mean, for a few exceptions, right? We can make educated guesses whenever the tokens leave through an address. Sometimes we can flag it as a centralized exchange, and you might not have sold everything on KuCoin, but pretty much that's what we assume. So anyway, the point is we know with pretty fine analysis what happens. So for example, the velocity as well of the selling matters. If you sell for 50K on Uniswap and create a big red candle and kind of fuck the project, you're gonna have a red flag on you. And so we have all this data. We haven't implemented it, and for now, like the reputation points are not live. But this will be one component, kind of reward the diamond hands, and there will be it's going to be gamified. There's going to be a scale. You'll see on your account, hey, you're like a paper hand, or you're like a strong hand, or a diamond hand, like kind of a speed thing in the cars, and see where you are. And that's going to be a small thing, but just to encourage people to hold more, because that's how you support the projects. And the second thing will be with the social engagement. And similarly, you can connect your Twitter accounts on our website, and when you like, retweet, and everything, that counts towards your engagement score. And again, so these are not live, but we have all the data in the backend, and this is also on the roadmap quite soon, maybe probably before the end of the year, to for now it's going to be benefits to those that help and so on. I'm not really big into like penalties. We'll see how it is, but yeah, the people who help more will have some bonuses, some exclusive deals maybe, or something, because it is something that the best projects ask of us. Can we have the best diamond hands? Can we have the most active community members? So if you do the work, you will get rewarded pretty much.
Understood. Thank you so much for explaining very nicely. Thank you.
Great question, Aisha. Captain Levi, last but not least.
Yeah, thanks, Noah. Alex, I really appreciate you coming. I've taken a few notes. I actually have two questions, but the first you might actually be able to answer it quite quickly. I don't mean to put you on a tight spot, but during the course of the discussion, you actually call centralized exchanges shady. To an extent, a lot of people have actually done this. Feel free to you can feel free not to talk too much about it. But why do you consider centralized exchanges shady?
I mean, I guess it's a scale, right? But centralized exchanges, they trade against their clients. BitMEX was very famous or infamous for doing that. They can sell assets they do not own, because they simply bet that not everyone is going to withdraw at once. So, for example, they can hold, I don't know, 100 bitcoins and sell for 200, because they have some info, whatever, crash the price and buy back. And because no one, they can just put sell orders on their exchange. So there's a lot of like these things that can happen. You never really know. Some exchanges tell you they don't take any fees, but pretty much they take fees by having a higher price. So there's lots of small details. I'm not sure what happens behind the doors of every exchange, but there's some of that.
I understand that. Okay, here's my final question. The only way to connect the wallet is by using PancakeSwap and Uniswap. Earlier, I actually heard you talk about that. Are there any plans to create your own swap mechanism in the future? Because some projects usually do this, and when they create theirs, they urge everyone to join in by creating certain incentives like lower taxes. This actually draws in people to use that swap, increasing its popularity somehow. So is there going to be anything like, the gains associate swap in the future?
Most likely not. We might, evolve, like build new products, but I don't think we'll have a Uniswap or PancakeSwap or something like that, if that was the question.
All right, Alex. Okay. Sorry. I'm taking too much time, but I really want to get your thoughts on this one. On your terms and conditions and your privacy policy. I actually heard about the way you guys request to, manage users' data, and that users can actually request how these data will be managed. Can you tell us about your data management system, especially those who provide, will I say, important units of data?
Sure. I mean, I guess my CTO would be better suited, but I mean, all the passwords are encrypted, sorted, whatever, in the database, and the data we have is all encrypted. We don't sell the data to anyone for now. Might change in the future, but for now, I mean, we keep everything, and that's it. It's for analytics purposes, like the data we have, the on-chain data, the wallets. Again, the question from Aisha, we really use it to display some stats and maybe rewards for some guys. But for now, there is no partnership where your data is sold or anything like that.
Alexandre, thanks for coming. That will be all the questions from my end. I really wish the Games Associate Obuli stay in Moonward. Appreciate your answers. Over to you, Noah.
Thank you so much. I mean, these questions were really nice.
Thank you, Captain Levi. Bonus question for Mr. Rahmat, and then we're going to wrap things up.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Noah. Okay, so I understand that all the projects are handpicked cautiously, but I was thinking if any project get listed on your launchpad for private sale, and later any community member brings up any evidence that a particular project is a potential scam. So is community member able to report the project to your team, and will you going to have the authority to cancel or maybe delay the private sale of any particular project at any given time?
So it's a very good question. I mean, I'm quite reachable. You can DM me if I miss it. Ping me again. So first of all, some people they're very quick to label projects as scams. But I mean, let's say there was a real scam. We have lost quite a lot of power and leverage once the money is sent. We actually we have been through. I was saying like I was going to tell stories, didn't have the chance this time, but we have been through many scams. That's just how you learn. We are actually in a lawsuit for the past 2 years with a company. Not going into the details, but a lawsuit is very expensive, time consuming. It's just a pain in the ass for everything. You don't want that in your life, and the projects know that, which is why some they're like soft scamming and rugging and slowly dying, and they took the money they raised and you don't really know what they did with it. The reality is if you have 10x's, 50x's, 100x's and more, that's because the space is still young. There is risk. It's a bit the wild west. It's changing, and so you don't have much recourse compared to investing in traditional companies. In crypto, once you have sent the money, pretty much you have to accept you don't know where the money is gone, and maybe you'll get a 20x in 3 months, and maybe you'll get nothing. So we have tried to use some kind of like leverage with our network, intimidation tactics, and various things with projects when things went sour. But usually the results are not so great, and you just have to accept that the crazy upside comes with some risk.
Understood. It makes sense. Thank you so much for answering. Over to you, Noah.
Thank you.
Alexander, it's been a pleasure, man, and hope to do more of these in the future.
Yeah, same. Thank you so much.
Whale Coin Talk community, thank you so much for joining. Remember that everything you've heard today is not financial advice. Always do your own research and be safe out there. My name is Noah, signing out.